Okay, we have another one. We have Handy Randy here, and we have Drew. So, I believe Drew is a blue belt. Uh, it's one of the bad things about just doing all no gi. You kind of lose track of who's who, but pretty sure he's blue belt. And I know Randy's a purple belt. Randy here's a purple. So this will be good. This will be a good, interesting match. So going to this half guard type position, good frame to the top arm, pretty standard. He's going for an underhook. Drew's going for an underhook there to get connection. He needs to be a little higher on the arm, but a good chicken wing might work. Randy's just keeping pressure in. Okay, always not allowing a crossface. I tell everybody at the gym, I was like, just never allow a crossface. This gives you time, a little time to work. Can't stay there forever, but it does give you time to work. You can get your hips up. There, scoot under. Good. That was good. Look how he quickly went to the leg. Traction. So he's monitoring. Drew's doing a very good job here at monitoring this outside arm. I always tell everybody you need to monitor this outside arm. If that outside arm gets a crossface or any kind of chest-to-chest connection, it's going to be much harder for you to do anything. You have to be more into recovery mode. The top frame here with the leg is doing a good job. And so always the top arm, the top leg are always the thing you have to beat when you're trying to pass here with this pressure type passing. Like Randy tried to scoop that arm, that top arm to get around it. This is interesting here. Randy has a grip on the bottom arm here, kind of anchoring in this position. He's pressing down on the bottom leg. He's driving his shoulder down into the center point here. And you notice that Drew now is a bit compromised with his left arm here. That left arm needs to be framing out, but he has a bend in his arm now. So this is no good. Randy still has to contend with that top leg with Drew's top left leg is still in the way. And as he starts to climb, he'll start to climb here. Now, Randy has connection with the head. This is one thing I always tell everybody, just do not allow connection with neck, head, shoulders. Okay, any that once that connection starts to happen, anything that Randy does now or anybody pressuring, they gain, you can't scoot away. So every little inch they gain, they keep. In this particular position, this is not that bad. I mean, for Drew, he can actually start to go inverted here because Randy is postured so high up and there's all this space here. And Drew does have a good frame right here. It looks like maybe on Randy's face here, or maybe the shoulder. So this gives him plenty of space to start to do something. And there's the underhook. So now this is actually good. He has an underhook on the leg. He has a good frame to push Randy in this direction, and he still has that good half guard. If he can start to slide his hips and get everything pressing to his left, he can start to produce something here. And he's just really good at this kind of like lazy balance is what I call it. There's this like lazy balance that you start to develop when you start getting more advanced. In other words, you don't stiffen up so much, and so it's much harder to move you. Understand that when you stiffen up, your body is connected. When you loosen up, your body is disconnected, meaning that it's much harder to move you, right? So if I were to grab Randy by the arm and pull him when he's all stiff, his whole body would go. If I pull him and he's just completely loose, just his shoulder goes. So this is a strategy. This is a technique actually that is developed over a long period of time and gaining comfortability in positions and confidence in positions like this. Technically speaking, Drew has a better position here, better attacking position. But Randy's taking his time here, kind of playing this floating game. And good, there was a bit of a weir, and then Drew spun back through. This is great, going to the backside to the leg. Okay, so he threaded the leg over. So this is a good leg attack, good entry. Randy understands he needs to keep this leg bent, and that's what he's doing. He's going to get this leg bent. He's going to try to get that knee to the floor and get this left hand back in the mix and get it activated to a crossface around Drew's face and get there. So we'll see. So he goes to face him. Drew recognizes this as he's going to turn back into him. Immediately goes back to a guard, to a knee shield. The reason why that happened and Drew didn't produce anything from that is because Randy has a bent leg. His leg was bent before Drew could get behind there and get the extension. So I play this type of passing as well, this pressure passing. If you notice, you look at this down here. You see how Randy has his arm pinned to the ground, and he's doing a high step here. We call this the high step with the outside leg. He's going to try to step this leg really high and drop that knee really high so he can shuck the bottom leg out of the way kind of almost, you could go to a reverse case. I'm not a huge fan of going to a reverse case. I think reverse case is it depends on where the placement is on the body. If you have a low case like around the hips, or if you have a higher case more into the armpit of your opponent. If it's a higher one, then it's much better. If you're around the hips, no good. So Drew's doing a good job. He's turned this into a hook. His left foot is now a hook. So we get some possible elevation here. And you notice he has a trapped, Randy's arm trapped here. So that's blocking that off. And he has a hook potential with his left leg here. He has a potential hook here. He could produce maybe a sweep out of this. But Randy, again, has this kind of lazy bounce. I would have liked to see him try that sweep just to get a reaction, because Randy is going for the crossface here. Now that Randy has the crossface, this is no good. This is not such a good position for Drew anymore. If Drew's arm was on the other side, if his elbow was on the other side of Randy's face, and he actually had an underhook here with isolation of the arm, this may be a bit of a better position. But right now, he's just kind of hugging him there now. And now the crossface is applied, and we have chest-to-chest connection, and Drew is actually flat. So this is no good. His saving grace here is his hook. I like that he has this idea of giving his hands to the inside here. He may try to. I always like in these positions to overcommit your partner. It's the more I study jiu-jitsu, I see that the concept of overcommitting someone in these type of positions is just critical to understand. If Drew were to overcommit and bring his knees to his chest and lose a little bit of strength, and his hand is in the armpits here, and push Randy over top, he could get Randy to post these hands and to release some of that. If he doesn't, Randy's just going to get rolled over. But at least he has a reset or an access to get back to inside position and even possibly get to it like that. So Randy's getting high now. Good retraction from Drew with his knee. I think he's going to go and swimming. So it looks like there's a bit of a pendulum going on there. It worked. Got his leg out. Got out to the side. I'm going to see that again because I missed that. Okay, so he started to pull out to the side here. And this is interesting because just a second ago, there was a crossface right there. So so I knew why he's swinging his leg. He's swinging his leg so that he can free his head. Once his hand here is pushing Randy's crossface, over committing his crossface, which is what I was just talking about. That leg is just doing a little bit of a pendulum there to actually free his head. So watch his head pop out here. See how his head just kind of popped out and hit the mat there. Crossface is gone. Randy's a little bit overcommitted. Now this leg is actually over and reap. Bam. Beautiful. I like that the way Drew actually bit the leg. I always talk about biting the legs. When you reap this leg over, you don't just toss it over. You reap it over, and then you retract the heels so that you can get connection and eliminate as much space as you possibly can. And it should be really tight. He's rolling, goes knees down. He has a grip on the heel. I don't know if that was a tap or if he said it was like, I'm okay. Oh no, Randy was okay. So Randy was okay here because he had a knee down. Drew had a gable grip on the leg. The more I study specifically leg locks too. The gable grip is not such a great. It's pretty much on the lower end of grips you should be using for heel hooks. I know a lot of people may disagree with that, but once you understand the variations of grips, you understand that the gable grip, it does work. However, there are better grips now. There's the butterfly heel grip, butterfly assisted heel grip. There's butterfly grip. There is false grip is even actually technically better because it's quick. There's a genie grip, which you may use. I don't use very often because I usually just opt to go to the butterfly or heel assisted grip. And then, of course, there's the rear naked choke grip, which is optimal, but takes a little bit more time to get to. So the gable grip it's good, it's efficient, it works, but it is not in the top tier to finish anymore. Now that leg locks has been around for a while, for speaking of advanced, leg locks have been around forever. But as far as the study of leg locks and how things people have, now we understand them to a certain degree of how to defend them and not just panic and tap. your grip really has to be improved. And so we have to improve from the gable grip to a heel assisted grip or a butterfly grip at a minimum. That being said, gable grip will work, but again, it depends on what level of person you're going against. Who is your partner? Is he ADCC champion, or is he, his fourth day in class? Heel hooks will, which I don't encourage you to heel hook somebody on the fourth day, but yeah, it happens. And, it'll work. Gable grip will work. But let's, with this particular case, Randy's actually good. He understands leg locks pretty well. He actually teaches the leg lock class. So he's going to have to come with a better grip. Randy knows the knee position. His knee position here is facing the mat. So he's still good. He still has a rotation available. So that may have been a miscommunication of if that was a or not. But now, as you can see, when he turned that corner, that gable grip is not sufficient anymore. Now Randy has the knee. He's going to his knee down, turning to the mat. The foot that Drew has here is starting to retract and is getting close to Randy's body. So he's starting to bend his leg, and Randy's going to try to climb top here. And certainly can hand fight there. Randy was using his right hand to hand fight Drew here to fight that grip and peel it off. Now Drew has to recover into a guard. But this is not such an easy position to recover from now, because now Drew is crisscrossed. Okay, so Randy could play this riding position, this guard riding position. It's like a bit of a pinning system. Right now, Randy has more of a wrap around the leg. I guess you could even consider this to turn into a turking position. And, but certainly what's really making this strong is that Randy now has the inside position over here to a potential body lock, and the hips are twisted. So this is going to be very difficult to get. You have to fight, use a lot of energy to get out of this. Plus, Drew's going to have to contend with this crossface. The crossface is going to be, there's multiple things happening here that he's going to have to recover from. So good. Randy does a pinch there. He may try to switch his hips to free this leg. May not just get him out. Made it way too complicated. So he just went out with a good crossface. Now he's got that hug, that crossface there. Switches over. Looking for a gift wrap possibly, but I like what Randy's doing here. He didn't go for the gift wrap yet. He actually scooped up appears to be the arm there. Oh, he let go of it. So now he has a gift wrap. Gift wrap position, beautiful. Now he has a seat belt. This is going to be going to a back attack. Most likely he's going to start to sit to a back attack. The gift wrap position from mount is very, very common, very, very efficient, and works at all levels, especially when you get the seat belt position here. So we'll see. There's the knee step up. Foot is planted to the ground. We have gain full access to the inside position here. We should be sitting to back here. See a sit to a back here in just a second, but Randy's taking his time. Cool. So I like that Randy took his time there, because he made kind of Drew do the work there to switch his hips and go to turtle. This could end up being a very bad thing for Drew, or it could be a good thing. Going to turtle will still keep you somewhat active, but it's going to be very difficult with a seat belt and two hooks. Turtle becomes very difficult to manage at that point, right? You're losing the battle. If Randy didn't have those hooks, obviously, or if he had one hook, turtle you'd be okay. You could probably fight out of that a little bit better. But we have two hooks. So now Drew runs the risk of getting into the worst position in jiu-jitsu, which is belly down, face down on the mat. Sorry, I'm shaking my hands. Face down on the mat. So let's see if Randy's able to get sink us down to get him flat. Drew does a good job. He recognizes this and he starts to switch to his side. So at least he's not belly down. Okay, so he goes to the back, and I like that Drew is already thinking ahead. He's already a step ahead here. He's taking his arm here to block that leg. He's bringing his this knee to the chest to step over Randy's bottom leg. This is one of the steps that has to happen to escape the back. If you know anything about escaping the back, you're trying to get your back to the mat for the classic escape. Drew wants to get his back to the mat here, but in order to do so, he needs to clear that bottom leg. So since they're falling to the left here, falling in this area, it's in his best interest as they're falling to clear this leg, not try to clear it after the fact. We'll see who wins this battle. Good. So Drew won that battle. He is over top. Randy's not out of the mix now. He can still reset. This leg is still over top. He can pull him back over. Say, okay, boom. So right there, you see that? Now he lost the battle. It wasn't, he was almost out, but Randy was able to recover that bottom leg. The bottom leg is critical on this side. Okay. You have to have that bottom leg over. And it looked like we're going into this kind of a twister control. twister back control, the beginning of twister back control. We're getting around the neck. And so one thing I don't like to see here, and you know, this is, it's not, I hate saying things are wrong, but I really like to see Drew's, this hand right here. I don't teach this. I don't teach people to grab wrist. I teach people to grab the thumb, the meat of the thumb or the hand. Now, you know, he may just, it happens. I've been strangled before and I know exactly what I'm supposed to do and I can't do it. I timed it wrong, or, you know, maybe the guy's just better. But this hand optimally needs to be up here. If he keeps his hand here, he's going to get strangled. This grip doesn't work. Anywhere below, at the wrist or below, if you're trying to prevent a choke, it's not going to work unless you're just way bigger and stronger, and that doesn't count. So let's see how this plays out. So we kind of let him pull his hand down there. That was interesting. And the reason why he let him pull his hand down there because he's switching the choking arm. So he went from his left choking arm. Now he's on using his right choking arm. And if you notice here, that's very interesting. Randy has two choking arms. Now, usually this is a bad idea when you have the back with just two hooks because you sacrifice the seatbelt control. The seatbelt really keeps us connected. It's an added layer of connection. But since Randy has a closed off position with his legs down here, this is essentially serving as a form of body triangle. Body triangle is obviously optimal, but for guys that have shorter legs, or maybe if you don't have shorter legs, this is just a good position to have this kind of half body triangle or this twister back control type position. And what this does is it closes off the position. So now, you know, Drew can't turn this way to get out. He can't turn this way because Randy's going to have a hold of his head in some fashion. The only way for Drew to get out is to take his whole body and get to this side. And that's going to be very, very tough to do, especially when somebody's trying to strangle you with two arms. So now Randy's going to do this. He's doing the switch back and forth with the choking arms, and this becomes difficult. Notice Andrew's bottom hand here becomes very just inefficient. It's not going to work very well because he doesn't have full motion and mobility to use that arm. So it's really the top arm that's going to have to do some work, but the top arm is somewhat stuck now because this top arm is going to have to get to Randy's right hand here, which is tucked away under. Randy's doing good job of squeezing out any more space that he may find here. So he's just keeping his head connected. You know, he's keeping if you kind of walk down this line here, his body's very connected, no space. Drew's doing a good job surviving here. He needs to get his hands activated. I don't know what he's doing here. Okay, so Randy's just trying to do this without actually locking in a rear naked choke. He's just trying to use this hand to press his neck down into his own forearm, into his own forearm, Randy's own forearm, and without actually getting his left hand locked onto his bicep to a triangle. This could work. I've seen this type of strategy done. It's called the belly down rear naked choke from this position. So in other words, if Randy were to take this elbow and drop it to the ground like he wanted to go belly down, he could finish one arm because the floor would effectively act as his second arm. I saw this many times at high level tournaments, guys finishing one arm chokes from the back by technically turning like they want to go belly down to let the floor be the second arm, act as the second arm. So, you know, Drew's trying to push this arm up, and he's doing a good job trying to keep that arm up. He feels technically safe here by tucking his chin. We all know that tucking your chin is not a defense, you know, you're going to get strangled or your jaw crushed or your face crushed doing this in a tournament. I'd be very weary doing this. Randy's being nice here with that crossface, and Drew's being very calm here. I think Drew would still be okay if Randy was cranking. It would really force him to have to use his hands a little more. But now we're starting to see a little handful. So see, now this is actually good. Drew got a hold of the hand, and that's what we need. But now you're going to see Randy's going to slide back under his own arm. That's that Drew's grabbing, and now his left arm's going to be the choking arm. Boom. And so now the left arm's a choking arm. So this is a very frustrating strategy for the person being attacked, but extremely effective. And you know, it really this leg configuration is really what makes it work. Randy's doing a good job here of, you know, fighting to get hands on top to press that arm away, but he really doesn't need to do that anymore because Drew just has his hands here on the forearm, which is not going to help him. Randy's driving back to the inside here to get a seatbelt to probably pry his hand away. Randy's choosing to use an anchoring position on the wrist instead of a control position be on the hand. And Drew did a really good job turning to his knees here. He switched his hips. One of the best things you can learn when doing escaping back attacks and doing mount any kind of scrambles and things like this is switching hips, right? You can still stay, your shoulder can still be on the ground, but you can still switch your hips. Your hips can still turn while your upper body is still somewhat kind of flat or to its side. So switching the hips can get you out of a lot of situations. Now, look, Randy has to climb here, but Randy has this is going to keep him in the position. If Randy didn't have this seat belt right here, this right hand controlling this, he would just slide off and Drew would be able to turn into him. Because Randy has that seat belt, he's able to climb. Drew turns the corner. He's doing a good job of turning. Randy lets go and pops over to side control. That was actually really nice on both guys' parts. That was a very good escape from Drew, utilizing his hips very well, staying very calm with with the back attack and understanding that it's not Randy's hands were not under the neck, fighting the hands very strategically. Randy recognized the position as being a loss, so he pops over with both knees into side control, which is a very, very nice transition. And Drew's doing good, trying to dig the inside position here with his left arm. Maybe get a frame onto the face. Okay, good. So he has inside position. This is the beginning of producing an escape. Randy switches to a bit of a quesadilla. Case is one of the worst positions you can actually be in when on bottom. It's awful. Somebody who's really good with it and just does not want to let it go can put you through a lot of misery. It's actually, I would say, a bit unutilized in jiu-jitsu currently. So now the case is becoming a real thing now. You can see the knee is actually getting close and the elbow is off the ground. So now there can be a mirror attacks now that's going to start to happen. Nice attempt by Drew, throwing the legs over. Okay, so now this is going to be very difficult. There's not a lot of strength that Drew can produce here at this angle. Randy has a straight arm. He can start to feed this arm between legs. So he's doing a good job of holding his own hand here. This would be a good strategy. This is going to lead to other problems, though. Good. So Drew did a good job of defending. Randy just transitioned to mount. A little bit of a pendulum there, trying to just a little bit of shaky, trying to get the shaky out. But Randy is now getting to a high mount, so this is not going to work. Drew may try to throw his legs over and get inverted, which is what he's going to do. He's trying to throw his legs in front here. It does work, but it actually works better for people that are more flexible. And Drew, it appears to be pretty flexible, so it could work if he can get his legs in front. Really, what Randy needs to do if he wants to avoid this is just sink his chest flat to the mat. So yeah, not a good position. This is going to be one of the worst positions you can be in a mount. The elbows are above the head. Randy has high mount, and you lose most of your strength here for the person on bottom, and it's miserable. And the arms are crisscrossed. So now whatever pressure Randy puts on this elbow, it's not going to be able to, Drew's not going to be able to fight it as well. His hips can't be utilized very well either because the hips are somewhat nullified. Or neutralized because he can't bridge. All of his bridging is not going to do it. Randy's hips are too high. Bridging really only works if Drew was connected in some fashion. He's not. Switching to triangle. So right here, this will probably end in an armbar because when he switched that leg over, Randy knows that the arm is trapped, but I'm sure he anticipated when he threw that leg over that he wasn't getting a triangle. He knew that both arms were going to be trapped. The problem is both arms are trapped at the elbow line. Okay, so at the elbow line, there's really nothing. I mean, you'd have to be very much bigger than Randy to really fight out of this position, because once Randy's hips are close to the elbows, Randy just has supreme leverage here, and he has more strength than he can produce as well. So more strength, more leverage, and the triangle is actually technically not needed. So just think of this way. If Randy were to fall to his back, right, he'd be in full guard, right? Technically, he would still be in full guard because he's under the armpits, but he would still finish this same armbar from full guard because he would have like a high guard, right? So this is a high mount, high guard. It's the same thing, right? So mount, you're in a full guard on top, essentially. So when he fall to his back, he could also finish it this way. If he fell to his back, I wouldn't encourage him to fall. He had no reason to fall to his back here, but just recognize when you have your full guard, you can produce this same type of position by climbing to a high guard. So, yeah, that was a beautiful, very good roll between these two guys. Very skilled, both of them. Very good technique shown by Drew for his escapes and staying composed. Very well done. Randy being patient with his positioning, constantly attacking, really understanding the leg positions. I really like Drew's leg attacks. They were very, very, very well done. And Randy's just very good. I have a hard time even, getting a solid leg position in on Randy, let alone catching Randy in a leg lock. So the fact that he's able to enter into the leg locks pretty smoothly, it looked really good. So this was a good one. I will have another one possibly later this week. All right, later.